Good morning, Mr. Rick. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm all right. How's you?
I am still a little bit sore. So the last time we talked, it was 2 weeks ago. We took last week off because I was injured and all kinds of banged up. So for the viewers that don't follow me, I was a gymnast. I was a cheerleader. I was a swimmer. I was a diver. I was very athletic, and I surfed. I skateboarded. I put this meat puppet through a lot of paces. I recently had started to experience some crazy back pain. So the other day, few weeks ago, I should say 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I started to get this stabbing pain in my upper back, and I thought it was nothing. I was like, oh, it's just like it's from mousing or something. It was bad posture at my desk, and it just kept getting worse. So even that hurts. That I just laughing like that hurts. So we have this amazing facility by us called New Jersey Spine and Wellness, and they have a couple of locations, or a number of locations, but it's kind of like an all-in-one stop. They can do X-rays there. They have physical therapy. They have occupational therapy. They have massage therapists. The acupuncture, everything. So I went over there and I was like, help. And they said, and oddly enough, the day after my first appointment, Greg pinched a nerve in his neck. So he's going too. But they took some x-rays and I'm bone on bone in 2 spots in my back. So I'm going to be doing therapy for the next few weeks. I have therapy in a few hours, and it's challenging to go in there, but they're going to try and fix my posture and strengthen the muscles around it. There's not much that they can do about the bone on bone. So that will be fixed. Oddly enough, one of the locations that I have the bone on bone is in the bottom of my spine, which is related to the sacral chakra, which we are going to talk about today. So, how are you, and how was your weekend? You were busy this weekend, weren't you?
I took it over I think when we were speaking off camera, I've started to realise now the importance of self-care. All of the way that I've worked is putting myself in a space of trying to help others at all costs. And then I say to people all of the time, and this is where it's come to bite me in the backside, is that I say to people all of the time, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So this weekend, I was scheduled to do a show, and I just decided that it wasn't for me. It's got nothing to do with anything in the environment. I just thought it's just not for me today. So my weekend has been fairly chilled out. I've made a point of just lounging in the garden and doing garden stuff. And if I wanted to just wander in for a cup of tea, I'd go for a cup of tea. If wanted to spend some time out with the dogs, and just make myself a priority. So when these racing thoughts come in, which I seem to be subject to, right, does that need dealing with right here, right now? And the answer was just absolutely not. So we made this decision because I've been struggling a little bit myself mentally. So we made this decision. Do you know what? We're going to have a close down moment with everything that I do. So it's getting all of the little bits sort of put together and tied off, so that at the end of this week, I'm going to my spiritual home in Cornwall, and I'm going down there. And the idea is to just switch off. So no internet, because the service down there is quite sketchy where we're going. And just have some time out and work through. I'm calling it, I've given it a new name. I'm calling it the mind treacle. So working through the mind treacle, because in the lives that we live, we all lead busy lives. And it's like we only tend to focus on the problems when we actually are in a space of hurt, or we're forced to. We're in that mode all of the time where I seem to imagine it as firefighting. We're putting out little fires all of the time so that it don't become one big blaze. And then all of a sudden you just get too much come in, and you can be blooming guaranteed damn sure that what actually happens is like you have a fall, you have a knock, and then the brain goes, right, we're doing too much here, right, let's slow down. So in a weird sort of way, when you get these things that hit you, it's quite a blessing. So I'm looking now at, because my head's racing, to get everything else to slow down. Right, and that includes all appointments and things like that. So if something doesn't suit me anymore, I'm just going to go, right, no arguments, let it go, because it's part of the mind treacle that I don't need to focus on. So I'm learning, and I've never been very good at this, just relaxing. I'm easy I can laze for the best, with the best of them, be lazy, but truthfully relaxing is something, because I'll sit down there and I'll be looking round, and my mind goes off at 100 miles an hour, and my body's going, great, we're in a place where we want to be, you know, because I've got back issues. And so you get yourself laid, you find your comfy lounger or whatever it is that you get yourself comfy in, and I'll get there and there's like this sigh of relief. The breathing starts to slow down, the state of behavior, and then I look round and go, now, I reckon if I just build that, I could just put that together and go out. And 10 minutes later, I'm out there into a full-blown project. So to give you a very brief example, this morning, the task was simple. Make a cup of tea. Right. So as I went to make a cup of tea, I walked through our living room and into the kitchen and noticed that one of the bins was overflowing. Well, it's our bin day tomorrow. So, right, all of the rubbish, make sure that goes out. So I picked up the bin, go into the kitchen and put the kettle on, thinking that by the time I've come back in from putting the rubbish in the bin, the kettle will be ready to pour a cup of tea, which is vital. Right? And then as I came back through, I'd emptied the bin, I poured the water in the kettle, and I thought, well, just leave that to brew, shall we say. I then go through to the living room to put the bin back and then start hoovering. And my wife says, have you got something on today? And I went, yeah. Well, this cup of tea. Oh, yeah, I made it. And this is what my head's like. So to find a space where you can go, right, all of that monkey chatter, stop. And I think that spirit and the universe sometimes helps us make that decision. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think that they set out and sabotage us and make us deliberately hurt. But I do believe that things work in stages. So if you go back through your injury, I would say that maybe a couple of months down the line, your thoughts were towards, maybe I needed a little bit of time out. Maybe I need to do a bit of rescheduling, but you push through it. So spirit sort of sit there in their non-judgmental way and go, well, yeah, but for your benefit and well-being, you still need to have that time out. So you might get a thing in your mind where I want to do something just slightly different to what I normally do, but you keep pushing through. So the next thing is you'll stub your toe or trip or something like that, and then you'll be, oh, bloody hell, it's just symptomatic of the day. But you still through. And then the third time you have a complete calamity, you'll have a meltdown. So the last time it happened to me, I was getting into the car. I was having a chat with a wife about something, and I was quite frustrated that I couldn't process something. And I smacked the car door as I was closing it right into my forehead.
Oh my God.
As I was getting in, I ducked in, shut the thing, and caught my head on it, drew blood. And I'm not that particularly emotional, but I just burst into tears. Now, it wasn't about the actual thing. It was just because it took me to that point to go, do you know what? I need to stop. So a lot of what we talk about with the chakras, they've all got their uses, but essentially we've got to maintain them all. They only work at in their best when we maintain them all. And sometimes, because we're our own worst enemy, we have to have something there that like kind of shakes us out of this going, this human being, this human doing. And we should be focusing more on the human being, which is what I'm doing my level best now to achieve. And it's took me too long and a lot of life's hours to realize that I need to look after this. And it's not easy. So, yes, I know I went around the corner there, but my weekend was actually quite relaxing because I put myself and my family first. So
And that's what I did yesterday too. You know, we had a pretty significant full moon just a few days ago, and it did, you know, kind of push people in the direction of taking care of themselves. Do you have ghosties on your mug there? What's on there?
Skulls.
Oh, skulls. I thought they were little ghosties. Oh, well, close enough, right?
I collect crystal skulls.
Oh, do you really? Do you get the Crystal Skull vodka by you?
No.
It's actually Dan Aykroyd's company.
All
Dan
right.
Aykroyd. Yeah, yeah, he has his own vodka and it's in a crystal skull. He's a pretty interesting. He's one of us. He's an interesting dude.
Do some
Neurodivergent,
research. I'll do
into
some
all kinds of
research on
weird
him.
stuff. Yeah. He's I was very surprised when him and Donna Dixon broke up. They decided to get separated but not divorced, and I love Dan Aykroyd, and Donna Dixon I think is spectacularly beautiful. They've been married for like 40 some odd years. You know,
Wow.
why bother? I just my opinion, but so you know what when we're talking about chakras and you know we're doing this rise high program, and today we're just on our second chakra, the root chakra. One of the things that we want to make clear to everybody is that the chakra system, there are more chakras than the 7 that we're going to be talking about. The 7 is just where we start. So when you have an issue with a particular chakra, it interferes with that whole energetic superhighway. So that's why it's so important to start at the bottom, have a good foundation, and kind of move up. So last week we talked about the root chakra, color is red, and getting that chakra to swirl and have an energetic platform that's going to get you rooted, finding your cause. What do you want to fix? Setting some goals with that. So when you meditate, make sure that you see this big crazy pool of swirling red energy that's really flowing nicely. Just imagine it like a whirlpool that yeah, TD, we do have a ton of chakras. There's a lot. The 7 are the place to start, though. You know, getting familiar with the chakra system, and it's the colors of the rainbow. You know, everybody's pretty familiar with the pictures of the little meditating person with the chakra spheres on there. So you know that root chakra, finding your cause. It's just a recap of last week. Now the sacral chakra, which is orange and works with creativity. Why is this our creative center? This is where all of our sex organs are. Can't put it any other way. This is where creation in the purest form, in the simplest form, takes place. So, and good morning to everybody who's coming in the chat. We're starting to get everybody filing in. I know it takes a few minutes. And hey, we're also going to get better about the scheduling on this. I think Rick and we were talking off camera. We're going to do some recordings for you because Rick's got some time off. He's coming up too. I'm crippled and in recovery. So we're going to do some recordings for you. Probably Rick and I will figure out if we have some time to do it this week. But we're going to keep feeding you little baby birds out there. We want to make sure that we keep the flow of the show going and the flow of the chakras going. So Rick, you know, when we're talking about that creativity center, finding the power of creativity to change your surroundings, this is where it's all coming from. How do you tap into that second sacral chakra? I know you have an interesting thing that you have today with you. But prior to your new acquisition, what would you do to get that sacral chakra going?
Well, this is where I start out by truth telling here. Out of
Truth
all
telling.
of the chakras, the sacral chakra for me is the most problematic one.
Me too. Why is that?
Well, So to give you a very brief story, but I will bring it into context very, very quickly. When I left the prison service, I was part of the lead up to leading the prison service was being in the hospital with a kidney stone. Right. So I imagine that the as we spoke last week, that the sacral chakra is located around the navel area and just slightly below. So where this kidney stone was located just around, I'm just trying to get the direction right, just to the left of my navel. Now, when I go to any shows or anything like that, and I pick up around people that are overanalyzing, overthinking, anxiety, Spirit have named my waistcoat pocket, which sits just over the site of where I had the kidney stone, as the anxiety pocket.
Okay.
So energetically, you look at the fuel center, which is when we're talking about the creativity, it's fuel, right? It's energetic fuel to fuel. And this is where it doesn't discern, right? Is because you fuel anything that you concentrate on. So if you're concentrating on all of the good stuff, then you will get that energetic drive and you will propel yourself forward. However, if you're focusing on anxiety, which in that job that I was in, there was a lot of anxiety, there was a lot of stress, it's got to go somewhere. So for me, it stores in that problematic area. And then, so I started to develop a story about that, because we've spoken many times before, where the energy, where the focus goes, that's what the energy goes to. It's one of Hutch's favorite sayings. But I started to look at it and think, right, so what does the sacral represent to me? So like you said, it's your drive, it's your sexuality, it's everything that makes you you. And for you ladies out there, it's also the intuitive brain. So it's one of those where we're not in the thinking process, we're not in the feeling process. This is purely based on intuition. So a lot of people, when they come to me and they're having problems with that sacral chakra area, I say, right, so what are you thinking about at the moment? What are you processing? Where do you want to be with it, sort of thing? So this is where I say to them, sometimes we just need that energetic clear out, because if you think of it as a storage dump for energy, right, if we use our intuition and we speak our words and we can get that, like the frustrations out of there, we can fuel that communication and get rid of that, then the energy starts to flow better. But if we store it in there, it's almost like saying, right, well, without putting too fine a point on it, we need to get rid of the crap. So getting rid of energetic crap, because it's located around the gut region, that's what it is. It's a waste disposal place. So a lot of people put a lot of stock into how they're going to meditate and their energy and all of this sort of thing, when we've got this meat suit system that's designed to get rid of all of this crap. And yet us, as thinking human beings that analyze the crap out of stuff, for some unknown reason, decide to keep it. Now, I am not sat here lecturing and saying I've got all of the ideas, because I haven't, because I am one of the worst people. But my way of working is to advise and guide people. And what I found out recently with my spiritual work is that I will get my healing from advising other people and seeing them succeed. And I'll go, oh, right, they've adapted that. Right, I need to start listening. So for me, it's a fuel center. And how do I balance it? Well, with it being so problematic and troublesome, the answer's not very well. That's the truth, because I overanalyze stuff. But when I'm sat there in those moments where we're taking care of ourselves, which I alluded to earlier, then that anxiety or that feeling or that energy movement, right, what is it? Well, it's just a feeling, right? It's just something that I've identified with, that I've agreed is correct. And it's not. It's just how I'm feeling in that moment. So I need to get from one thought pattern to the next. So I look at what I'm at. It's about structuring your day. But everything is energy and frequency. So what I'm going to do is introduce one of my impulse purchases. Right. So very quickly, the story with this. I went down to Stonehenge, and one of my friends there had got a rack of these tubes, and she was doing some sound healing. And she came out and she went, what I think you need is this. And I went, ooh, right. Yeah. Because the vibration and the frequency around it, and I just like the sound and I like shiny stuff, as I've mentioned before. So I went, where did you get that from? So she mentioned a mutual friend and she said, I'm going down to see them. Well, they live quite a long way from me. So I said, pick me one up and I'll have it. Never thinking about price or anything like that. So anyway, comes to pass because we're about 6 weeks further on from Stonehenge now. And she says, message me to say, oh, I'm down there now and I bought you this. So without further ado, the most expensive impulse buy that I bought in a long while is what is known as a wah-wah tube. On there is a label that says 400, let me just double check that, so I'm putting this out there, 417 hertz, right, which is the vibrational frequency of the sacral chakra. Because, as I said, troublesome chakra for me, so I wanted the thing that would help me with my troublesome sacral chakra. Me being me, overcomplicated stuff, because how does it work? Well, it's quite simple. You've got a BT stick and you've got a metal tube. So it's the frequency. So.
Oh, just hold it up a little bit more and do that again, if you don't mind.
Right, so I've just got to get the angle with it right there, because the hole is on the top, which is where you're going like that. So there's a split down the tube, which sends the vibration out there. And there's a range of tubes that goes from the root all the way up to the crown, different lengths of tube. And then as you work through, so if you're in what's called a sound bath, you can work the tubes depending on what the client's needs are and where you might feel the energy blockages around them. So it's not something I've quite got used to, but my strange head decided I needed one. So alongside my singing bowl, where I'm working on the throat chakra, which is where I make the most common link, and we'll not get too much into the throat chakra, but this is where I believe that we can actually process some of the stuff that sort of sticks around the sacral, is by once that energy is drummed up and we start getting all of those in alignment, sometimes that's where the blockage ends up getting stuck, is in the throat. So once you've drummed up all of that energy, right, it needs to go somewhere. So either verbalize it or process it as a waste product. And I think I got away with that, because sometimes when I explain it, I go into far too much detail, but basically down or out, and I'll put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is such a cool thing to have. And I think it's wild that you got it. And now, like, this is what we're talking about. So, like, what chicken and egg, which one came first? So the sacral chakra also is the note of B. The vowel sounds for it are E and me. So like E, me. So what else can I tell you about this? I've got some notes here. Must have crystals. There's this was also something cool that I wanted to put on here. There is an orange colored sacral chakra bowl that I found on eBay. Now I know this, I think it's the United States eBay, but this is actually pretty cool. This is a singing bowl. You can achieve same results with that. There are also some crystals that are very helpful to help activate and balance the sacral chakra. And I'm gonna put a link to that as well, for those of you that want to go on there. Unlimitedcrystal.com. So carnelian, snowflake obsidian, orange calcite, citrine, sunstone, tiger's eye, amber, moonstone, aragonite, and golden healer quartz. So these are all crystals that you can use either to activate or balance that chakra. Some people are into or not into crystals. They just don't resonate with them. Some people, if you're somebody who doesn't feel the stored energy in crystals, highly suggest trying a sound bowl, a sound stick. What do you actually call that,
A
Rick?
wah-wah tube.
A wah-wah tube. Okay, it's not a stick, a wah-wah tube. You could try anything like that. Me personally, I do find that sound cuts right through me. It actually just like kind of cuts right through me. And I do feel that it's more of an active energy than crystals. However, that being said, my good friend Alicia Wicker, who's here on YouTube as well, she sound cleanses all of her crystals. Her crystals have a little bit of a different effect on me. I am giving her a little plug here, but I do very much believe in what she's doing, and I'm going to put a link up for her as well. There we go. I don't. You can contact her if you want worldwide delivery, but the sound cleanse crystals just feel a little bit different. They hit a little bit different, guys. Just being said. So when we meditate on this sacral chakra, again, I want to stress, whenever you're meditating and you're focusing on the chakras, see them as swirling pools of light, liquid, sparkles, whatever you really see it as. They can be spinning upright, they can be spinning in a flat surface. However you see that, it can be a globe that's spinning. The idea is that you want to focus on these different chakras and test the quality of them. I think once you start to just follow that path up your spine of the 7, primary chakras, I think you're going to start to see some of them aren't spinning that well. Some of them you can't even visualize the spinning. For me, like some days, like I had a few female problems a few years ago, just getting older and fibroids and that stuff. I had a lot of trouble spinning this sacral chakra because it was just so gummed up with all the physical stuff that was going on there. Now we can talk about, did the physical come first? Did the energetic come first? It's one or the other. Sometimes we create the energy blockage by the physical situation. Sometimes we create the physical situation with the energy blockages that we have. To take it one page further, sometimes we have past life stuff or faded stuff, karmic stuff that we bring over from lifetime to lifetime. So, you can treat the symptoms and the effects that you have just through energetic attention. You can do that. You can treat them. Can you cure them? I don't know. Wait until we get up to this, where the injury that's in my upper back is not in the heart chakra. It's not in the throat chakra. It's somewhere in between. So it's probably one of the other chakras in there. So I'm going to have to address that. But, is that a past life thing, or is that something that I did? Sometimes when we do have, back pain, sometimes it is, you fell out of a chair like I did yesterday and re-injured yourself. You absolutely can have that chicken and the egg situation. So, for each of you, Rick and I are not doctors. We're weirdos. We did, we know what we're talking about the weird stuff, about the woo-woo stuff. But, if you have pain, you can't meditate and expect it to go away. You do have to go and have it treated. Me neglecting to address the pain that I was experiencing right away was just because I'm so used to being in some amount of pain from being an athlete that I really did think it was going to resolve on its own. I didn't think it was something, more permanent that I was going to have to address. So if you have a wah-wah stick or if you have a sound ball, quiet moment, close your eyes, relax, get yourself sorted, let that sound happen. And what you're going to do is you're going to let it come through you. you will be very surprised. You can find, you know, the note that you need to hear. Again, I'm going to stress sacral chakra, note B, as in just a B. B is in bumblebee. You know, let it play on, you know, if you find a YouTube track or something like that and focus on it, you're going to feel it go into that sacral chakra, and you're going to feel it shake up the system and create some energy there. You know, recommended meditations. Dr. Joe Dispenza has an amazing one. Dick Sutphin has one. You can find his online as well. Do you have any particular meditations that you like to do for?
I've said this many times that I'm useless at meditation. It's an adaptive thing for me. I went to a demonstration once with somebody sat there, and the guy sat up on a stage, and when I looked at him, I thought, oh, he looks like a bit as your terminology. He looks a bit hippy dippy. And I thought, all right, okay. But he engaged the audience straight away. So he said, right, it's a quick straw poll. He said, who here actively meditates? Now I'm sat there on my hands because I didn't get it at all. I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't understand it. He said, so is anybody sort of relatively new to all of this sort of thing with what meditation's about? And he looked at me and I went, yeah. And he went, I bet you're one of these type of people that sort of sits there and in your mind you're going, right, has it happened yet? Has it come through? Am I relaxed? Am I doing the right thing? And then he did a 5-minute sketch, and it was so accurate because it so described me. So he said, right, so how I do it, I go into the room. I've decided that I'm going to meditate. Instantly, this image comes into my mind that I need to sit cross-legged, arms folded on the floor in the lotus position and get ready to chant on. He says, never happened for me. So he gets himself adjusted and he's making himself like really making a thing. So he sits there and he goes, right, some deep breaths to get me started. Right, focus, because we've got a job to do. What area am I focusing on? Oh, blooming hell, did I switch that kettle off? And then he goes through all of these things where, and I was laughing my head off because it's just like so in my head that he'd gone through all of these things. And then he said, and by the time he's got to that 10-minute mark, he sat there looking around going, oh, God, have I got the shopping done? Have I really, has it happened yet? I'm supposed to feel something different. So my version of meditation, as I mentioned many times before, is the dustbin meditation, purely because that's about as much as I can handle. I commit to 10 minutes quiet time. And anybody that knows me that knows that is my limit. It really is. So when we talk about meditation, it's your version of meditation. So you might have ones on there that are 3-4 hours long. If you can do that sort of thing, congratulations. I just haven't got the wherewithal or the patience to sit through that. But for 10 minutes, when I just notice my breathing, and the process of not aligning yourself with your thoughts is called disassociation. So if you can just take a step back, realize that your thoughts will continue on coming through, because what was said to me was, when you go into this room, just switch your thoughts off. Oh, wow, what a piece of advice that is. I'm going, if I could do that, I'd be a more complete human being. But I've not found a way at 52 of being able to do that. But what I can allow myself to do is that for 10 minutes, right, all of that crap, the mind treacle that comes through is not important. So if I'm focusing on the sacral area, I'm sending my energy down there. So I've got into the deep breath. So the deep belly breathing, where you take in the deep breath and then imagine it going through each and every chakra. And when you're focusing on the sacral, what I tend to do is I imagine the color orange, and you mentioned about what you see it as. The way that I was shown it first off, and it's kind of stuck with me, is lotus flowers opening. So as they open, I don't know how, because there is specific, I don't know who's counted this, but specific amounts of petals that in the opening process. And I'm going like, that's too detailed for me, that. So I imagine that colour just spreading out. And orange for me always reminds me of fire, because fire's fuel. So I imagine just like a fire starting to burn and come up to this amazing fuel type sort of thing. And I'm focusing there as I'm breathing. And that's the area that I want to concentrate on. So that's where I send the most energy to. And for 10 minutes, anything that comes through that's going to interfere in any of that, right, on your way, just keep going. I'll wave at you if you like, but that's not your time. You've got to queue up. So outside is my real life, and inside there for that 10 minutes is when I go into woo-woo land, and I absolutely love it. But what I'm going to say to you as well is that I don't always practice what I preach, because we've had conversations about working with energy and doing things like that. And I start out with all good intentions, but I'm very easily distractible. So this is why I say to people, from somebody who struggles to maintain focus, keep them short and sharp. Don't get into analysing whether it's happened yet, because it may well just be that 5 minutes you're giving yourself is what you need during that day to break a state of behaviour. So if you're busy, and you've got things that like businesses and things like that and jobs and all of that sort of carry on to focus on, maybe you just need that 5 minutes out to recharge. And essentially, the root of all good therapy is breaking current state of behavior. So if you're in that, I've got to do, just 5 or 10 minutes out, or as much as you can manage, so that you focus on the power of nothing, right? It's like getting your breathing down to us. It's on, for me, I think about quite a lazy way of breathing, because there's effort to go into breathing. But if I just imagine just sort of sat there and there's no effort required to it. So I'm not thinking about something. I'm just staring into that black hole. And what I find with that is the less I think, the more relaxed I feel when I come out of it. Because as soon as I walk out that door, you can guarantee 100% I've got 50,000 thoughts that I've left behind for 10 minutes. So
yeah.
So it's how you fuel yourself. And this is what I want to stress, coming from somebody who just believes in just this ordinary guy, right? However you feel it, however you do it, it's got to be right for you. So like all of the fact finders out there that go, oh, it needs to be this and needs to be that. It doesn't. It needs to be whatever it is that suits you. So if, like people like banging drums and stuff like that, I can put up with it, but it doesn't do note for me.
Yeah.
Like with that singing bowl that we got last week, now I can listen to that sort of thing all day. What gets me into a relaxed state of mind is listening to rain.
Okay.
It's because, again, it's the frequency, it's the cadence. Listening to waves and where I'm going in this next week, it's just incredible that frequency of that waves washing up on the shore. I mean, wolves. We've got a tape at the moment that's just wolves howling that we put on at night time. It's got 9 tracks, and I've never heard the end of it. But it just depends on what you need and what suits you. So I'm open to any sort of meditation tips, as long as people aren't going, you need to do this. Because as soon as I get that, that's where you lose me. So if you're watching this, whatever works for you is important, and that's where you'll find your peace.
So I think, you know, aim small, miss small is always a good rule of thumb. It's from the Mel Gibson movie, The Patriot. Aim small, miss small. You know, you're gonna do it. But I disagree with you on one thing. I don't think you're an ordinary person. I think you're extraordinary. I think you are very, very neat. And I'm very glad that we are friends. But so I think we're gonna cut it here, guys. Like I said, we're gonna work on some production videos for you, because you know, Rick's gonna be away. I'm gonna be in therapy. You know, we're still gonna try and get some lives in for you, but we're gonna continue this in a little bit more of a recorded format, just for you guys. So but in the meantime, is there anything else I wanted to cover? I put some links in here. I think we're going to do some kind of a hot sheet, and come the fall, I think, Rick, you're going to have like a a little bit of a more formalized session for people that want to sign up for it, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the background, but it's like with anything, and you as a seasoned recording person on YouTube knows that sometimes it's the amount of prep work that goes into it before the finished product is actually laid out. I'm at the stage at the moment where I'm ground clearing, so I haven't even got to the prep work stage yet. I've just got my digger on a plot full of land that needs chowing out, because it's just about where the focus goes. And the thing is, I've got a very simplistic mind in the way that I plot things, and I get distracted with stuff. But please remember, anybody that looks at any of my stuff, that my thing is always, I want to help people, right? And I want to work with the people that think that, you know, I can't manage this, I can't do that, that's not my, I want to, this is my weirdo magnet, this is my offer, right? Weirdo putting on his weirdo magnet, so people who non-traditionally think, right, I want to work with you guys, I want to help, that is my reason for being. But the purpose of doing these sort of things is to remind us all, everybody who watches this, to take care of yourself first, because without having this energy, you can't give it away. And I always get reminded of the importance of that. You cannot pour from an empty cup. But just remember that you're not, if you're giving your energy towards us to help you process with something, just remember we're there for you. But we have to remind ourselves constantly that we can't give more than what we've actually got. So my aim is, over these next couple of weeks, I'm totally shutting down. Right? I'm not saying I've given up or anything like that, but the way my mind state is not conducive to having the best production that I want to put out there. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a step back to recharge, and then we go again when I've got that energy back. Because at the minute, this is another good tip for you as well. When you realize, you talk about dropping short with people, why are we dropping short? Because we've got nothing more to give. So just when you start to notice the signs and synchronicities around you, right, what is your gut telling you? What is your intuition telling you that you need to get? And Annabelle's had some hints there that she needs to slow down a bit, but it's took something severe to make her do that. So don't put yourself in that position. Learn earlier. You know, don't take the most painful route to get there, to get that epiphany moment. And that's what I'm going to leave you with today. So for me, take care of yourselves. And if you need that recharge and that time out, please, please, please take it. Because you want to work with me, I'm going to be there the other side of it. I don't know in what guise, I truthfully don't at the moment, but I'm going to be there the other side of it. So thanks for tuning in with us, and I appreciate your time, guys.
Yeah, so we'll have some cool stuff for you guys coming up. You know, it's the end of summer. I hate to say it's the end of summer, but you know, we're getting into the dog days. You know, what we'll be back when Rick gets back, and we'll do a live, but I think we'll do some production stuff in between so that you guys don't miss us too much. So thanks for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to me and Rick, subscribe to both of us. We're both really fun. We have different channels and we have some fun on ours. So thank you everybody for being here. Do your meditation today just on that sacral chakra. And we're going to talk more about going up the levels in the building. So we will see you guys later.